Hello, welcome to Watan Al Karama News Channel 9 p.m. our regular time for top stories by Watan Al Karama, and we start with the latest developments and top news items from Libya. Media reports said that there may be a meeting between Parliament Speaker Aguila Saleh Equator and President of the outgoing Congress Nouri Boussahmin in Oman later today to continue the dialogue initiated between them in Malta the days before. Reports quoted member of the outgoing Congress Mahmoud Abdelaziz as saying that the meeting will discuss the developments of operational procedures after the formation of the joint committees, expecting that the mentioned meeting will be held in Muscat, Oman. A number of parliament members announced their rejection of the so-called National Unity Government that resulted from Sekhirat government, which that was signed by parties not authorized to sign in the Moroccan city of Sekhirat last Thursday. In a statement to Watan Al Karama channel, Parliament member Tariq Al-Bloushi said that a number of parliament members held a consultative session after failure to convene today's meeting for lack of quorum. During the meeting, they issued a statement in which they highlighted the need for any agreement to be approved by Parliament first, the only legitimate authority in the country. Al-Bloushi said that the Parliament stressed that what was signed in Sekhirat is a flawed and not illegal agreement. UN envoy to Libya Martin Kobler said that he introduced 3 points concerning the city of Benghazi during Rome last conference. Kobler noted that the points are the establishment of a fund for the reconstruction of the city, enabling the return of the displaced persons, and establishment of a fund to compensate the victims of the terrorism. Kobler's remarks came on the sidelines of signing of 24 mayors on the Libyan political agreement, which was announced in Sekhirat last Thursday, topped by the municipalities of Misrata, Sibrata, Sabha and Zintan. Member of the political committee of the outgoing Congress, Abdel Qadir Al-Haweli, said that the members of the outgoing Congress decided to conduct escalatory steps, rejecting the National Unity Government emanating from Sekhirat dialogue in Morocco. Al-Haweli said that among those steps is preparing for the convening of a public hearing on air by members of the outgoing Congress for the manifestation that the vast majority of the Congress members are against Sekhirat agreement, noting that they discussed with the presidency of the Congress the current situation and the next steps. And still in Libya, sources in the capital Tripoli unveiled the transition of Faiz Sarraj government is soon for implementing its mission at a headquarters adjacent to Ma'atiga military base in Tripoli. The sources said that the government will be protected by that base commander Abd Raouf Kara after his announcement in an official statement his support for the National Unity Government, noting that Kara has a military force which is the strongest in the capital Tripoli, which was the most prominent forces forming the camp of terrorist Libya June. And now we transfer to Air Force operations in Libya. Sources reported that the Air Force warned all boats and ships from approaching the towns of Derna and Benghazi, where the Army forces monitor the Libyan coast in the region stretching from At-Tamimi east of Derna to Benghazi. The sources pointed out that some of the fishing boats used to transport weapons and fighters to Derna and its environs by renting some people and paying money to them. The sources stressed that access to this area is forbidden to all citizens and fishermen, adding that the suspicious boats and ships will be targeted. On to Ajdabia, Air Force spokesman Nasser Al-Hasi said that the Libyan armed forces repelled terrorist elements attacked strongholds of terrorist Daesh elements. Daesh were seeking to stretch towards Ajdabia and the oil-crescent city. He noted that the Libyan Air Force and ground forces are fighting and brainstorming criminals in the city of Derna and Benghazi and now in Ajdabia. Al-Hasi stressed that the armed forces achieved good progress during last week and they will not announce these achievements until they are calming the areas that were controlled by the army, adding that ground forces were calming areas that have been controlled in Benghazi. Now my audience will transfer to the Arab arena, and our news item now from Yemen. Government troops clashed with Houthi rebels in Yemen's Ma'rib province despite the extension of a 7-day truce agreed upon by Yemen's warring parties at the end of peace talks in Switzerland this week. Warring parties in Yemen, where forces in the Saudi Arabia Arab coalition are trying to restore President Abdurrahman Mansour Hadi to power, agreed to renew a 7-day ceasefire at the United Nations sponsored peace talks that started on December 15 and ended a week later without an agreement to end the 9-month civil war that has devastated the country. The violence continued elsewhere in the country today as Saudi Arabia state media said the kingdom's defense system shot down a ballistic missile which the Houthi allied army said it had aimed at oil installation in the south of the kingdom. The missile fired late yesterday was intercepted on a trajectory towards the Saudi city of Jizan. Saudi Arabia state news agency SPA quoted a coalition spokesman as saying. Iraq's army forces stormed the center of Ramadi today. A spokesman for the counter-terrorism unit said in a drive to dislodge terrorist Daesh militants from the remaining strongholds in a city they captured in May. The operations to recapture Ramadi, a Sunni Muslim city on the river Euphrates, some 100 kilometers west of Baghdad, began in early November after a month-long effort to cut off supply lines to the city. Progress has been slow because the government wants to rely entirely on its own troops and not use Shiite militias in order to avoid rights abuses, such as occurred after the recapture of the city of Tikrit from the militants in April. Dozens of militants had been killed, said a brigadier general, while a spokesman for the Joint Operations Command declined to give a casualty toll for the armed forces. If the attack to capture Ramadi succeeds, it will be the second major city after Tikrit to be retaken from terrorist Daesh group in Iraq. Terrorist Daesh group also control Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, and Fallujah, which lies between Ramadi and Baghdad. And finally, from Nigeria, new Boko Haram attacks have created a major hunger crisis in Africa's Lake Chad region, with malnutrition reaching catastrophic levels in some areas, the World Food Programme WFP has said. According to the UN Food Agency, more than 5.6 million people don't have enough food to eat. WFP warns insecurity could lead to prolonged hunger as attacks in Chad intensify and continue in Nigeria, Cameroon, and Niger. People who normally fish and farm on fertile lands in Lake Chad had fled their homes in recent weeks following attacks by the militants who have massacred villagers and looted crops and livestock. Boko Haram insurgents, who have been fighting for 6 years to establish extremist Daesh group in northeastern Nigeria, have stepped up attacks on the neighboring countries which joined a Nigerian offensive against the terrorist group. The displaced are now camped in the makeshift shelters alongside refugees who have fled fighting in Nigeria. The settlements are struck out on barren land between the towns of Begasula and Pol. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website at www.watanilkaramah.tv. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.